Hi, my name's Vanessa. Welcome back to Snoop My Diary. I created this podcast over a year and a half ago when I was going through a breakup, and I was feeling vulnerable and like I just wanted to yap to somebody, even if that was just myself, even if no one would listen. I just wanted like an outlet, a project to kind of throw myself into when I was feeling not the greatest during that time. And I made several episodes just kind of sporadically whenever I would feel like it. Lately, I've been feeling the calling to ramp it up again and maybe do it a little more. We'll do it a little better for season 2, if you will. So we've got video now. Do we like the set? Do I need more Christmas lights? Should I add more stuffed animal friends behind me? Let me know. I've been thinking about taking it to the next level now and kind of just getting back into the swing of things for a while now, but my perfectionism has been making me like put it off for a really long time, and so we're done putting it off. We're just gonna work with what we have and get things going, you know? So basically, I created this podcast, Snoop My Diary, because I've always been an avid diary user. I've been writing in diaries since I was like 3 years old, like ever since I could write, basically. And I've always really enjoyed this about myself, that I've been a diary user my whole life, because it allows me to go back and reminisce and reflect on a lot of my life in detail and just have those like firsthand accounts of things I was going through. So like I said, a year and a half ago when I started this, I was in a very transformational time period. I still am, I feel like. But I've evolved so much even in this like year and a half since I first started this in season 1, but I feel like I have even more to unpack and reflect on for season 2 and beyond. Let's just get into it. I wanted to kick off season 2 with a juicy topic. So today I wanted to talk about my addiction to having a crush, which I feel like I have worked on. I feel like I'm less addicted. I feel like I'm more chilled out. That's probably just, maturing and aging, my frontal lobe developing. But reading my diaries, oh my goodness, there's a lot of discussion about boys, about crushes. That was very clearly something that was on my mind frequently as I was reading through like my high school diaries. So I'm going to read several entries where I am very boy crazy, where I am very focused on my crushes, whoever I'm crushing on, like at school or work or anywhere, any environment I was in. If I could have a crush, I was going to force myself to have a crush on somebody to make my day-to-day life more interesting. And low-key, I still am that way to a certain extent. Like when I'm in public and I'm single, I'm like, who can I crush on for like 10 minutes? Like I'm bored. Like who's interesting? And I also wanted to touch on age gap relationships a little bit. Mostly from like the perspective of a high schooler, because that's when these entries are from. So yeah, we'll touch on age gaps a little bit. Let's talk about boys. Let's have some boy talk, okay? This first entry is not really even an entry. It's kind of just a visual, kind of just to show you how infatuated I was with whatever, with boys at the time, with a particular boy in this instance. I don't have an exact date on this, but I think it's from like 7th or 8th grade or something, somewhere in that time period. And this is simply a Laffy Taffy wrapper. The candy. This is a candy wrapper. This is garbage that I saved and put in my journal because the boy I had a crush on gave it to me. Duh, he gave me that Laffy Taffy out of the kindness of his heart. Oh, wait. He gave me this because, and said I'm nice because I gave him $1. So I didn't even get it like out of the kindness of his heart. It was just because he needed my money. And so I saved this wrapper because that means he's in love with me, right? He gave me this laffy taffy. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Like, you would not catch me doing that as a grown woman, but as a child, as like a young teenager, I was saving laffy taffy wrappers from boys who only paid attention to me when I gave them money. This next entry is a proper one that I'll actually read to you. So this is from September 5th, 2014. So I was a freshman in high school. Fun. Today was great. In biology, we were getting into groups, and I was like, please let me be with, what should we call him? Let's call him Randy. Okay? I was like, please let me be with Randy so I have an excuse to talk to him. And he's in my group. So he comes over and sits down and says, how was your day, Vanessa? And I'm like, pretty good. What about you? He says good and stuff. Then Brian comes over to our group and he says, Randy likes you. And I'm like, gibberish, okay? Randy smiles and says, way to blow my cover, and I'm dying inside. So as we're doing the project thing, I have to reach to the end of the table he's on, and he says, let me get that for you, Vanessa. That's a really pretty name, by the way. And Brian just goes, aw, so that happened. And later at the game, he called my name from a ways away and just smiled and waved. I really like him. Ugh. So I wanted to read this entry where I'm talking about being put in a biology group with my crush, with my high school crush at the time, because it seems like a cute story. It seems really like sweet, and like he might have a crush on me back or something, you know? Like he's low-key flirting with me in biology, saying I have a pretty name, and you know, Brian even saying that Randy really likes me, you know? But now that I'm an adult, looking back at this story, I feel maybe I'm just being cynical. Maybe it wasn't like this at all and I'm just assuming things. But I wasn't like popular in high school by any means. And this guy that I had a crush on, he was kind of popular. I didn't really know that cuz like we went to different like middle schools or whatever. So like, you know, I didn't go to, you know, he was new to me when I was in high school, but I think he was pretty popular. I kind of wasn't. And so, I don't know, part of me reading this back feels like they were just making fun of me. And maybe that's, like I said, maybe I'm just assuming things. But obviously, like, nothing ever came from this. Like, he never, like, pursued me properly. Yeah, so I don't know. I kind of feel like I was just the butt of the joke. Like they were just like him and his friend were just kind of like poking at me, like being like, oh, he likes you, he has a crush on you, and he like jokingly flirting with me because that's funny, because who would ever have a crush on me in high school, you know? Again, could be, you know, looking at it the wrong way, but that's it's kind of what I feel now in hindsight. Because if he truly liked me, like he probably would have done something about it. But no, I feel like I was just kind of like a little hee hee ha ha for them to like make me blush or like stress me out. I don't fucking know, but I do want to comment that a few months later, like the next entry after this is from December of 2014, and the first sentence is Randy is a douche. So I don't remember exactly what inspired me to call him a douche. I'm sure I had a good reason, but there you go. The start of high school was definitely like exciting for me because my middle school or whatever, I had already exhausted like any crush I could have at that point. Like I had been going to school with some of these people since like preschool. So I was just like, I'd seen enough of them. Nobody was clearly interested in me. So I was very excited for high school to like see new boys and see what was up and see if anyone would give me the time of day. But yeah, I feel like the naivety kind of maybe led me to not recognize when maybe people were joking, flirting with me versus like actually interested. Obviously it's not nice to flirt with someone as like a joke. That's not a cool thing to do, but I hadn't even really experienced that. Like I just never really got attention, period. So that's where I was kind of naive. Like I just assumed like if someone's saying those things to me, like they mean it. I didn't kind of hear the undertones. But now that I'm reading this years later, over a decade later, I'm like, ugh, I don't I don't think that was very nice. Maybe. I don't know. The next entry kind of touches on age gaps. This is from May 8th, 2016. So what grade am I in? Like a sophomore, right? And this is from my first job as like a teenager, talking about like my coworkers and stuff, okay? Sam told me since I left early, I missed everyone having drinks after closing, including Jim, who's only 19. 19? Are you fucking kidding me? I don't know if I've talked about Jim before, but in case I haven't, he works at my work and he's very hot, like 10 out of 10. I figured he was like mid 20s, so I had no chance, but he's fucking 19. You may be thinking, oh, but Vanessa, now that you know he's 19, you can make a move on him. Nope. Yesterday was his last day and he's moving away. So we're calling this coworker that I thought was attractive, we're calling him Jim. And when I'm writing this entry, I'm 16. Like, it's my first job. I am a teenager. I'm a child. I'm a sophomore in high school. I'm 16. And when I discovered that this coworker was 19, to me, to 16-year-old me, that was a perfectly reasonable age gap. And now I'm like, oh my god, no, that's not cute. I don't think any 19-year-old, like 19-year-olds are out of high school. Like, you're at least like a freshman or sophomore in college at that age. I would hope they would want nothing to do with a 16-year-old who like just got her driver's license, who's working like her first job. I don't think I would be alarmed if he were interested in me. So thank God he wasn't, you know? I don't know. I'm curious what other people's thoughts are on it. Like, yes, it's only 3 years, 16, 17. Yeah, it's only 3 years between 16 and 19, but Jesus Christ, like, there's a lot of growth that happens in those years. I think when you're a teenager, it's really like when you're in high school, age gaps are tricky. Like, I feel like you can't really go much more than like a year or two before it starts getting like, you just do so much growth in those years. Each year, each like 6 months, you're like completely different. You're completely evolving. At least that's how I felt at the time. So also, hey, why are we giving the 19-year-old alcohol? Why are we doing that at the place of employment? That's illegal, you guys. That's not normal. Also, it was like a grown man telling me this story, being like, "Oh, you shouldn't have left early because we had drinks after closing." Hey, why are you telling me that? I'm 16. I'm a little girl. I would hope to God if I hadn't left early that no one would give me a drink, because that's not good. Jim was very attractive though. He was cute. He was definitely my type. So, and he's totally age appropriate for me now. I'm 25, so he would be 28. Totally valid to date him now. So if you're watching if you're watching this and you feel like you match the alias and you want to come forward, hi. No, I'm kidding. Again, my first job was definitely a place where I was eager to find someone I could have a crush on, because I mean, I'm still like this, to be quite honest. Like, in places of employment, like a crush really, it's like that trauma bond. Like, you're in the same working environment, like you're kind of forced to be there, kind of forced to be around each other. So, like, might as well have a little fun, might as well find someone you can flirt with when you're bored. But I was definitely excited to meet new people, like, outside of school, and so, you know, kind of for the first time. Like, I feel like I didn't interact with many people outside of school. Yeah, a work crush just makes life so much better. Let's be real. This next entry is from May 27th, 2016, and I'm on vacation. I'm in Disney World. Wait, no. This is Universal Studios, right? Yes. I was in Universal Studios when I wrote this. In one of the lines, I saw this cute-ass boy with pretty blue eyes. He had a Bring Me the Horizon shirt on and was being cute with who I assume was his younger brother. Sigh. I saw him again in the Spider-Man line. That's all I wanted to read from that, but y'all, a vacation crush hit different. Vacations are so fun to find a crush, like, especially if it's someone you see repeatedly, like if it's like a hotel worker or like someone, you know, like like someone staying like at your same hotel that you see frequently. Dude, that's so fun, because when you're on vacation, you're just like in another world, in another environment. You're outside of your usual routine. The Bring Me the Horizon shirt really brought it home. Like, I was gonna say at the time, but let's be honest, even present day, if I see a man in like a band tee that I listen to the band as well, I'm like, oh my god, we're dating, we're in love, what's meant to be. And this dude I had a crush on was like playing with his younger brother in the line or whatever, like being friendly and cute with a kid. Y'all, I don't even want kids, like zero desire there, but I still do find it attractive when someone's like good, like when someone's cool with kids. I don't know why. Ooh, this part didn't age well. You know the rocket ride at Universal? Does that still exist? You can like play music on that ride. And I wrote that I listened to Stronger by Kanye. Damn. Damn. I feel like now that I'm an adult, having like a vacation crush and like a little vacation fling is obviously more feasible. It's kind of hard to flirt when you're on family vacay. This next entry is from July 9th, 2016, and it's also from my first job, my first retail job, so let's get into it. I worked 8 to 6 today. Also, I'm pretty sure I have a little crush on Brad. Nah, I'm 100% sure. Maybe it's just because he's a boy my age who I see semi-often, but I don't know, he has a really nice smile. And when I was driving back to work after my lunch break, he was crossing the street, and we just kind of looked at each other and laughed. And you know what? That's kind of all it took back then, was a boy my age who I saw semi-often and who made eye contact with me every once in a while. Again, I was really on the hunt for a crush at my first job. I guess it was just so insufferable. I needed some sort of escape. It was definitely a proximity thing too, because like these people I would pick as my work crush weren't necessarily someone I would have a crush on, you know, outside of work. It was just because I saw them all the time. Same kind of goes for school. It's like you see these people every day, so you're kind of like, let's make it work. I gotta find something to work with here. As much as I do still appreciate having a good crush every once in a while, I'm definitely not one to like force it to happen as much as I did back in the day when I was like in high school. Back then I felt like I constantly needed one, otherwise my life was boring and had like no meaning, and we're not quite there anymore, thankfully. The last entry I'm gonna read a tiny snippet from is from November 16th, 2016. So I'm a junior in high school now, I believe. Still 16 years old. Yeah, all these entries are like from a very specific time frame, like 2015 to 2016, because I mean, let's be honest, like that's when I was my most like hormonal, my most boy crazy, if you will. So that's where a lot of this material is coming from. But this one's actually more so gonna be on the topic of age gaps again. So let me read just this little snippet. Tina may or may not have a new thing with a college freshman, but I wouldn't know details because she never talks to me anymore. Okay, so that was me talking about my bestie Tina, who at this point in high school we were kind of going separate ways because she was more interested in like partying and those kind of things, and I was not really interested in that. But I do have some like one like high school slash college party story. I have like several entries though where I talk about like underage drinking and stuff like that, so I feel like that could be a whole episode like topic on its own, because I definitely had some strong opinions back in the day. But anyways, I was just talking about how she has a new man, a new college freshman man, and I just don't know details because we're like kind of on the outs right now, and that's annoying. Like I wish I knew more. But oh my god, why was this college freshman interested in a high school? Well, see, here's the is this controversial? Is this like a debate topic that we could be having? Like, is it, I mean, what, how many, that's like 2 grades apart, right? Could be like 2 years apart. I think they were like 3 years apart at least though, because my friend was kind of young for the grade or whatever. So she was probably like 15 and he was like 18 maybe. I don't know. I don't know, that's just, ooh. Like, unless you started dating when you were both in high school together, I think it's really suspicious for anyone in college to be, you know, interested in anyone in high school like that. Just why? I don't understand why you would be interested in that. But I remember in the moment, like, writing this entry and like dealing with it, like I said, in the moment, like, I wasn't even thinking about the age gap. I wasn't thinking about it being an issue, like, that being the issue. I was more focused on, ugh, my friend, like, doesn't keep me in the loop with her boys or whatever. Meanwhile, it's like, ooh, this is like not a cute age gap. Like, he was kind of a connection to some college parties, and like I said, that's another story, that's another topic. But these like 15-16-year-olds had no business being at like a college party. That's really weird. And like, why would this college man want anything to do with these high school girls? Yeah, like, I'm 25 now. I'm not even really interested in dating anyone like typical college age, like 22. Like, that's too young for me personally. And when I was in college, I couldn't fathom being like besties or romantic or sexual with someone in high school. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, that is just not even on my radar. So yeah, in hindsight, I'm sorry to my friend, sorry Tina, for not acknowledging that age gap was creepy, and maybe trying to be a friend and being some support for you in that time. Instead, I was just salty that I didn't know more. That's all we got for today. Though I'm sure I have many more entries that could relate to this topic. Those were just the ones I found in a couple of my journals. If I look even further, I'm sure I will find more. But it's definitely nice to decenter that from my life a bit. I feel like nowadays I can rely on myself more to make my life interesting. I don't need to seek it externally and like constantly be on the lookout for a crush just to give my life purpose. But that is all for this episode of Snoop My Diary. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I'm not too rusty on the mic because it's been a minute since I've recorded one, but we're getting back to it. I'm excited. I'm feeling good. I will see you next time. Bye.